So hi Farhad, we were chatting before Black Friday, and we are making all sorts of estimations, I guess, or predictions about how it would go. And obviously we're not out of peak season, we're very much still in peak season. Most of the purchase is still to happen, right, between now and Christmas, but we get fixated on these big dates like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But how overall, how do you think it's gone? And we'll get into a bit more detail on it.
Overall, and for most of the clients that we work with, I would say it's actually been a little better than expected. Certainly from that digital point of view, we saw some changes around some of the things that we talked about, but being potential elements that would be important in planning and in the run up to Black Friday, such as actually Friday itself being a little bit softer, predominantly due to the football. Actually Sunday and Monday being the days where the pickup really happened to compensate for the Friday. We certainly saw that clients who planned and understood that Black Friday's been moving forwards for a few years now and went a little bit earlier, particularly the week before, with Fake Friday. And Fake Friday was quite a big day actually in the overall mix, much bigger than expected. Those clients overall had a much better, I would call it, Black Friday period rather than just the Black Friday weekend. So going earlier definitely made a big difference. And as we sort of highlighted in a lot of preparation, the quality and depth of the promotion, given what people are looking for, was probably the key thing. Where we had clients that didn't do as well as expected, it was predominantly a promotional failure with the level of competition in the market that was there. And we did see, you know, even in the sort of 2 or 3 days behind, we persuaded 1 or 2 clients to change their promotions, do something a little bit differently based on the indicative data that going early gives you and the flexibility it gives you in terms of, you know, changing what the special products on offer are, or deeper discounting particular category because it's not working very well, etc., etc. So it was an interesting time period. But yeah, my overall emphasis is better than expected.
Yeah,
good plan.
The data from that we've seen from like Barclaycard and Adobe seems to indicate that actually more money spent this year than last year, and up between 5 and 10% really.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw better than that for most of our clients, but there was definitely a patch where clothing retail in particular didn't do as well as it did last year. Beauty, which had a horrible time post-COVID, did a lot better. So some switchback patterns in terms of where we are and to where we were before. But you know, Barclays is saying sort of plus 10%. We actually had some clients who were more like plus 30. Now I haven't seen the offline data and you know, from the stuff I've seen for offline, there's definitely been an overall decline in footfall, definitely nowhere back to levels of pre-19. So that combined data piece is one that we definitely need to have a look at. But from a pure digital point of view, I would say 90% of our clients did better than expected, 1 or 2 not quite as well. And like I said earlier, the most of the failure of that was the promotional strategy was incorrect.
And I was surprised to see, and I think it's more in the US perhaps than more in the UK, but the spike in sales on Cyber Monday compared to Black Friday was so much bigger. Yeah, Cyber Monday sort of doesn't seem to get as much attention.
Do you know, it's been interesting because actually we've different clients have always had slightly different patterns, and we've had 1 or 2 of the retail clients where Monday's been a very important day, but it's not always been important across the board. I do think that this year we did see Monday as a day being more relevant for more of our clients, and actually seeing not just Monday, actually Sunday. Sunday was an important day in the mix as well. So you saw sort of softer first 2 days and the pickup over the weekend. But what we've seen historically often is when clients have done very well over that Black Friday weekend or the Friday itself, then actually they've taken most of the demand that's coming for them. So the one thing I'd say about the US though is we did see for the clients where we were working in the US that the level of competition was way harder than what we saw elsewhere. So I haven't spent a lot of time looking at what people might have changed around for Monday, but my suspicion with the level of aggression we saw early on the weekend is there was a second round of even heavier aggression, which probably prompted that sort of behaviour and response.
Yeah. And do you think what we've seen over the last 10 days or so gives you any sort of clues as to what is going to happen over the next 2-3 weeks?
I hate to say it, but I have been saying it to clients, which is traditionally when November is very, very strong, December is a little weaker, because there is only so much demand and it's been front loaded. You can see in the market, particularly for some of the retailers, that what people like ASOS were doing and a few of the others, that some people have got far too much stock and really have not got a lot of choice about clearing it down. I think supply inventories have kind of, all the supply chain pieces has cleaned up a lot faster than people thought, and they've got more stuff sitting in warehouses to get rid of. So I think that pattern is variable for different people in terms of what they have to do and don't do in that overall mix. There's obviously the impact that we're going to see from the Royal Mail strikes and moving Christmas delivery dates forward. So my expectation actually is it will be a bit softer. If it is good, it will be the first couple of weeks that are good. People get more nervous around delivery than they usually do. So that last week, which can be a good week or can be a bad week, depending on how your delivery systems actually work, will generally be a bit softer everywhere else. So the sort of post couple of days that come down, if you want, from Black Friday, where I have seen the trade for clients, is it's been in line-ish with what we saw last year. But yeah, my expectation is a bit softer, but the best bit will be the next 2 weeks.
And do you think, therefore, if it is going to soften, that brands need to think a bit more about that traditional sort of Q5 period with the Boxing Day sale? Does that become more important as consumers are just more alert to those deals?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. I think there's going to be, for different people, there are going to be some quite specific problems. So one of the challenges that a lot of the retailers will have is the weather's not been very cold. And so there's going to be a lot of winter stock sitting around that needs to be cleared and thought about, and actually how you do that between now and the end of January in terms of managing both throughput and margin is a complicated challenge that many are going to face over the next few weeks. But yes, the Q5 piece is already starting to come into planning and thinking right now. I expect that there will be some more short-term discounting in the run up to Christmas, just because the softness of the retail environment, and also it's the Q5 piece, right? Why would I, if I can sell something at 25%, 30% down today, why am I going to sell at 70 in January? I might as well see how much I can shift, as long as I can make the economics work. The challenge is often, though, the media markets are also at the most expensive. We've just come out of probably their most expensive week of all, and they're still not going to be that soft. So there's going to be a bit of a trade-off in terms of level of investment required proportionally to what you might be able to push into a softer environment in January. However, if I'm being honest, if I look at the margin calls I think most people are going to have to make, that's going to be relatively irrelevant in the greater scheme of the bit of maths that needs to be worked out.
Okay, well, great. That's a fantastic summary of what's been going on and a few predictions moving forwards. Thanks, Farhad.
All right, mate. Catch you there.
Cheers.